Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Zon Academy. Today, we have special people from Harvest joining us today. We have Shaana Gripp, who's a DT, and she's also the manager for product experience. And we have Rob Lejour joining us, and he is the EVP, the Value Creation Director for Harvest. And we're going to be talking about getting gingival aesthetics, advanced gingival aesthetics, with Harvest EasyGum. And there is a reason why Easy is in the name of this product, and you'll see that as we move along. And Rob gives us the lowdown on the product, and then Shaana's going to be doing a live demonstration. So you're in for a real treat today. Shaana and Rob have also prepared a couple of poll questions. I'm going to launch those in just a second. So I would love it if you guys could be interactive with us, because really your answers mean a lot to them. And, it does definitely, help them along with what you all are doing in your laboratory and how they can help you be more, effective and get some beautiful results with some of your prosthetics. Also, there'll be a live Q&A, so don't hold back. If you have any questions, please type them in at the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. So I'm going to launch that first poll. And first, I just want to say hi to Shaana and hi to Rob and all of us here at Zon. We really appreciate you being here. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Fran.
So the first question is, how long does it take you to add traditional syringe composite to a hybrid or denture? So if you wouldn't mind, please answering this question. I'm going to keep this up for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's relative to level of aesthetics, and is it a provisional or a final? And so, I'm sure maybe some technicians are like, well, it depends. But I think, just maybe on average, how long does it take you with traditional syringe composite? Love to hear from you guys. And welcome to our time together. Fran, thanks for having us. See some friends joining the room. I assume everyone's here from the US, but if you're from outside of the country, let us know. Sometimes we have some international guests
Here at
jumping
Zon,
in.
we absolutely do.
Yeah.
Every webinar, and we are thankful. So the first poll, I can give you the answers to the first poll, guys. So 67% are saying that it takes them about 40 to 45 minutes, and 33% are saying that it takes 60 minutes or more. So that 30 to 35 minute, no one's doing it in that time. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna end this.
That's in line with what we've heard and what we think, and about an hour plus or minus relative to the level of aesthetics that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, we hope to dramatically shorten the application time of pink composite for sure. And we think we can, and we'd love to show you guys.
The next question is, have you tried Harvest EasyGum? Now, with this one, there's a good chance that some of our listeners may have, because we had a great lecture with Shaana and with Rob at Chicago Lab Day. And I know you guys were gracious enough to bring over some sample material for our attendees to try. And, Rob, we were just at our Arizona Roadshow, and Rob was there, and he gave a great lecture and worked with, all of our customers all day long. And was pretty cool. So I'm curious to see, is anybody out there that has tried it? If you wouldn't mind answering. Again, I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to answer.
Is the poll question up? Because I'm not seeing it. Okay, cool.
It's launched. Yep.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's been an exciting product. Super happy to get feedback. If you guys have questions too, we're gonna jump in a few minutes, but don't be shy asking questions as we go. And then if Fran can answer it quickly, she will. But if it's something that Shaana and I need to jump in on, then ask away. And we'd love to make this interactive and answer any questions that you have as we move through our time today.
So just to give you the results, no one has tried it yet. So this is great. So this is, this will be pretty fun.
Awesome. That's exciting.
What everybody thinks after this. So I'm going to turn this over to you, Rob, and everybody enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you, Fran. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through a few slides together, and then we will go do our hands-on time. with Shauna. So thank you, Fran and Zahn, for having us here. We're going to talk about EasyGum today. A couple different indications. You can cut a strip in half and apply it to a denture prototype, a try-in in about 5 minutes. Today, we're going to talk about implant provisionals and a workflow that you can achieve gingiva aesthetics in about 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, just depending on the level of aesthetics that you want to apply. You can also use EasyGum for definitive full arch zirconia cases. We'll be talking about this at LMT West. Would love to see you guys out there. But here's the lineup, two different types of provisionals and a final that are commonly used. Want to pose this question. Do you guys see this as a problem? This idea you have this monolithic denture try-in being sent to the doctor and the patient, and you can't see the gingival margin. Well, wouldn't it be nice to have a quick and easy pink solution? So you can cut a strip in half and apply some pink there in the Social 6 and do that in about 5 minutes. Super easy to do. We've got some YouTube videos that walk through this flow. You can definitely do this in 5 minutes. Apply the bonding agent, cut the strip in half, apply it, shape it with the papilla tool and some silicone tips. And here you go in about 5 minutes of time. So that's super cool. But today we're going to dive deeper into our implant provisional. And Shauna, I'll have you join me in these slides and just talk through why don't you just, for maybe a minute, just reference some of these tools that you're using in your EasyGum flow.
Yeah, the middle tools, I use the Harvest Papilla tool. That's going to help cut away and shape, start the papillas. Silicone tips, I use a disposable paintbrush, and I'll explain why once I get into my demo. And then the last is just a normal Explorer. So these four tools are my absolute go-to for all workflows, no matter what I'm doing. The polishing, I'm going to
Go ahead.
use
Sorry.
3 polishers, bristle brush, felt wheel, and a cotton puff, and I'll walk you through that at the end as well. And it's really quick, easy polishing. I use speed polish because I don't use any glazes at all.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Can't wait to see more about that. So let's just walk through these beautiful photos and just, kind of narrate, Shauna, these slides for us. So we have an arch here, and what's the first thing we're going to do?
We're going to prep. Wait, we got to prep
Or-
first. We got to do a little
Yep.
bit of prepping. So sandblasting is a must. You're going to sandblast the tissue area. You're going to steam clean, and then you're going to let it dry. Then you're going to get into the bonding. The bonding using EasyGum Bond all-in-one. We're going to be placing this on with disposable paintbrushes because it's easier than the little micro brushes, and I'll explain why and show you on my demo. One drop usually gets me the full arch. We're going to put one coat on, super thin. We're going to come back over it, stretch it out, super thin, cure. The bond does require a handheld light.
Yeah, the handheld light here is worth mentioning, but let's go back here and how this is an air puff, not an air blast.
Right. So it's going to be, because you placed it on the prosthetic thin, you're just going to need to just air dry it. Just make sure it's nice and dry. Easy, gentle. I know it's kind of hard with these hoses at the bench, but kind of just gradually air dry that. And then you can go into the curing process with the handheld. It's going to be 20 seconds per section. You're going to have to make sure that your light is also following the parameters that are needed to cure this, which is it was the 430 and 510 nanometers. But you can also look on the Harvest website under resources for IFUs and recommended wavelengths.
Yeah, for the bonding step, it is required, according to the IFU, to use this handheld at the higher strength. When you get into the modifiers and the strips, you can use an LED cure box, an auto flash, GC Labo light, or many of the common cure boxes. Shauna, I know you like to use your handheld the whole way through, so that's for sure an option. So let's jump in. So the bonding agent will be shiny, but not tacky, not wet, right?
Yep, should not be sticky at all. It should look like you glazed it. And when you touch it, there's no sticky or tackiness, but it looks wet. And that's how you know it's cured all the way. I like to use modifiers, and we have 5 different shades of the modifiers. This one being my ultimate favorite. It's the red plum. These all go underneath of the strip, and I'm going to demonstrate that today. So I'll place this, and then I'll actually move it around to the places I want it to be in with the paintbrush that I use for bonding. But you can actually layer these modifiers all together, so you don't have to cure in between. But I generally will come back through with like a bright red, the dark violet. I like to kind of mix into it. So all of these colors are going to shine through the strip because the strips are translucent. And this really is what gives it that real lifelike look with not a whole lot of effort. This is the bright red. That's my favorite shot.
I mean, it looks like I want to eat that
I
picture, but
know.
I probably shouldn't.
Cleaning it off, I'm just using a micro brush with just a little bit of alcohol just to make sure that I'm not getting it on the teeth. It just makes the end process a little easier. Same thing. Curing 20 seconds per section. I prefer to use a handheld. I get the best cure using a handheld. This one is you have the option to add some opaque. I do like to add some opaque, generally with the zirconia. It gives me just a little bit more body. I can play with the light a little bit more using this is actually opaque and root, which is an intense modifier. And that's placing it with the brush. Yeah.
And so this shot here, this is the final shot before the strip goes on. So you've got a few different modifiers. You've got a nice multicolored backdrop. So then when the EasyGum goes over top, you're going to get some real nice 3-dimensional color. This is where you'll spend the time to achieve the level of aesthetics that you want. Shaana, I know you've done cases super quick where maybe you just use 1 or 2 modifiers. And then if you want to elevate it, you can take it further from there.
Thank you. Yeah, generally my provisionals take 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Nice. All right. So let's get into the strips.
Yes.
What
Strips,
we
we're warming it up with our fingers. So we're going to hold it in our fingers. We're not really pressing it, but we're just getting it warm to feel like a stick of gum. From there, you can peel off one side of the strip. We're going to place it right at the midline and at the finishing line. And we're going to press, holding it firmly as we're pulling the strip back towards, the posterior on both sides. We're going to press it into the prosthetic, making sure that it's not sliding, it's not slipping, and it's in all of the cracks and crevices that we wanted in before we peel that top strip off. But leaving the strip on allows you to manipulate it without, feeling like it's sticking to your fingers or anything. So we're going to peel. First tool is going to be the papilla tool. This is going to help start shaping. We're just going to press and then pull straight down to the incisal all the way around. Doesn't matter that it looks messy. There's a workflow to it that keeps it nice and fast. Next is going to be the silicone tips. I jump back and forth between a pointed and then this flat edge one to help start shaping the tissue. I do dip it in a little bit of bond so it slides across the resin a little easier. But this is where I shape the body of it, the papilla. Last, I'm going to come in with an explorer. That really gets the fine detail. I can use the tip of it or the back of it to help shape that gingival margin, round off the papilla. I do like to use sometimes the Ivoclar composite tool. It's got some different size pads and tips on it that have been really helpful, especially with working with the zirconia. Yeah. Again, just, cleaning up as I go with a micro brush.
And then here's one of my favorite hacks.
Yes. So one of my favorite hacks is to make texture. So there's 2 different sponges that I like, and I actually get sponge or the Scrub Mommies. And I like Scrub Mommy because she's got 2 sides. This side works really well with the resin to give it some texture. It's a firmer sponge than this side, but I do like both, and I'll today I'm going to use this side to show you. But that's how I get some of my texture.
Nice. I love that. Very time
Yeah.
efficient and cost effective.
Very.
Get them
Yeah.
on Amazon for a few bucks.
Cure from there.
Yeah, and then
Next,
putting modifiers over the top of the strip. You do that
if
quite a
you
bit, yeah?
can, I do. I generally with the higher end, if I'm putting it on zirconia, I'm going to be using a little bit more detail and using an endo file, which they use for like root canals. I can swipe that through the red or the blues and create veins, get into those little cracks and crevices, just to kind of pop and get a little bit more life out of it. Sometimes I'll add the translucent or the pink modifiers, which are more translucent. So I can seal around the teeth and the gingiva just to make sure that it's nice and tight. Sometimes the resin doesn't pack all the way in when you cure, and you'll need to seal those edges. And I'll use that. That's a good shot too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some more veins
some more veins. Yeah,
a little bit of shaping. I use some crosshatch carbide
I
tool.
do. I do. I have a pear shape and then a flame shape crosshatch. I like it because it does a really good job polishing it as it cuts. If I need to just shape up around the gingiva, generally I don't have to with my provisionals. That's why it's so much faster. But I am being a lot more detailed with zirconia, but these two work really great with this resin.
And let's talk about polishing versus
Yeah.
glazing. You've been a fan of polishing. Maybe
Hmm.
just talk for a minute, giving your clinical insight into, as a chairside technician, why you liked polishing versus glazing.
I like polishing versus glazing for the fact that glaze, after maybe a few days, will discolor, even after you cure, sometimes will discolor your prosthetic. It turns it yellow. Well, it continues to do that and it breaks down in the mouth. It's disgusting. Plaque and food and tartar just build up on it very quickly. The taste of it, patients complained a lot about, that just never really wore off. It flakes off, so it's basically you're going to place it, it's going to peel, it's going to wear. I have found getting a better polish, longer lasting, more natural looking by using speed polish. And the first one I go in with is the bristle brush, which is a firm, medium to firm, and I'd use a heavy to moderate like pressure on the resin to get it to that initial polish, and then I'll come in with a felt tip. This is going to act like the pumice wheel. I didn't really like going to the pumice wheel or the lathe to polish these because I feel like it was really polishing out. It was too aggressive. It was polishing out the anatomy that I like in the tissue and the teeth. So I found chairside, this works great. The last one has nothing on it. It's just a cotton buff, and anything that's left on there, it's just going to buff out. And this is what's going to give you that really super high shine all the way across.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
this photo. I mean, there's a little
Mhm.
material on there still. You haven't steam cleaned it yet, but you can see that highly polished surface shining through.
Yeah.
And so there is our cue. I'm going to stop sharing my slides, and then we'll check our Q&A. If I don't see any unanswered questions, so guys, feel free to drop your questions in as we go. Shauna is good on her feet because I interrupt her and ask her questions all the time. And so no, she's very good answering live as we go. So if you guys have any questions, please don't be shy in dropping those in the Zoom. All right, Shauna, you got your overhead cam working. Let's take us away. What substrate is that? Is that a milled or a printed? What are we looking at?
This is a milled. So this is
Nice.
a milled harvest ECO that I'm going to put the EasyGum on.
And those teeth look pretty shiny. Those just polished, pre-polished, or
A
no?
little bit, because I just took off the sprues and I actually ran over it with just a cotton buff. But this has probably been my favorite, even from like long time ago is this particular PMMA and just how well it shines and how natural it looks. So this has been a favorite of mine for a very long time. But yeah, that's just like a barely touched it polish. All
All
right,
right,
so
well, take us away.
first step. Is there a way to make me big so I can look over my shoulder too? I'm gonna put the bond in the well. So I have 1 drop. All right. So like I said before, I like to use this disposable paintbrush versus the micro brush. And I like that because I feel like the micro brush really overkills it where it'll kind of puddle it and then I can pick it back up and it'll puddle it, pick it back up and puddle it. Whereas the brush, I can really stretch it out and thin it out as I go. So what I'm going to start with at one end and just start kind of painting across. And I stretch it out as far as I can get it before I re-dip it, making sure that I get down into and around the papilla. These brushes I purchase off Amazon in a bulk, and they're the 000. I believe this one's like a variety pack where it comes with long and short. There we go. So a little bit goes a long way. This is not something that you have to super saturate. Get all the way to the other end. I'm going to go back to the other end. So we're going to do basically two crossovers. So two applications.
People
Stretching it
have
out.
asked, I'm going to throw in a question here that we've gotten in the past, can I use a different bonding agent? And it's, can you or should you? You probably can. However, the Harvest all-in-one bond is a specially formulated bond for long-term definitive use. It was formulated by Harvest in the same with the same approach as intraoral bonding agents used for like composite fillings, long-term composite fillings. So it's specially formulated for EasyGum for definitive use. And by using this bonding agent, you will achieve amazing strength. It's 22 megapascals of bond strength between EasyGum strips and zirconia that we've tested. So it's like 4 or 5 times the ISO standard. So, of course, we highly recommend use the all-in-one bond by Harvest. It is indicated in our IFU, but other bonding agents may work. But we for sure recommend the all-in-one bond for that definitive use performance.
So I just did a light puff of air. And now I'm going to come in with my curing light. I use a woodpecker. I like this light because of a couple of reasons. It's inexpensive. It has an extremely high wavelength. And it works really, really well on the go. I have found that I get the best cure for my workflow with this light.
Yeah, and you use that light for your whole case typically, right?
I do.
So it's kind of nice. You don't have to get up and leave your bench and go walk over to the shared cure box and maybe stand in line. Just keep your flow going.
But the head of this one is a little bit larger too. So it'll cover about 2 teeth per section. And I'm curing at 20 seconds per section. I'm also making sure that I'm getting close to the prosthetic because if you're holding it out too far, you're not getting the same intensity. So you're going to need to be as close without touching.
Good
If you're
point,
having,
sure.
if you're having issues bonding or feeling like your bond is cured, a couple of reasons. One, the wavelength on your light may not be strong enough. 2, you may be a little too far away.
Yeah, if the bond is slippery or still wet after you thought you cured it, it's most likely not fully cured. It should be shiny and dry, correct?
Yes. There we go. So going in and touching it with my glove, it is not sticky whatsoever. It just looks wet. So that's it right there. So my next step I'm going to do is add my modifiers for underneath of the strip. And I like to start with the plum, which is my favorite. And the nice thing about this is it does not need to be nice and tidy at all. Without sticking my finger in it. So I'll place my dots. I'm going to use that brush that I used for bonding just to kind of start pulling it down towards the papilla. And I'll stretch it out across this finishing edge.
What kind of cutback do you do in the design to make room for the modifiers in the strip?
It depends. I generally do not put it in the design itself. I'll do it by hand. I'll just run this little pear-shaped crosshatch right at the finishing line just to kind of create, I mean, just ever so slightly a line for me to follow. If you are placing this on zirconia, it's going to be probably a 0.5 or plus. You can design that in, or you can also do that in green state. I like to do it by hand only because I design each of my cases prior to starting them. So I'll know exactly how much room I'll need and how much modifier I'll need for certain cases. There we go. So the next one I'm going to do is the dark violet. I like to place around maybe like where the connective tissue is, little frenum. I'm just going to stretch that out. And then the last one I'm going to use is the bright red, which I really love using for like highlighting. This one is the one that's really going to pop through.
So I've noticed I've watched a few of these for now. You have a flow. It's dark red plum, violet,
Yep.
bright red in that order every time.
I do. I like to keep things like a system. It just
Yeah.
it helps. It helps keep things, moving fast. Um, it just helps my brain. But I mean, a lot of other people have started to really appreciate that too.
And so given the workflow you've dialed in for a provisional
Yeah.
like this, obviously you're going much slower right now demonstrating, but you're about
Yeah.
15 minutes an arch on average, depending.
Yeah. About 15, even less on some. Um, if I'm not on camera, I can move a whole lot faster. Just because I've just done it so many times the same exact way every single time.
If you're doing
I've
a short,
gotten, yeah. Oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Keep going.
No, go ahead. What was it?
I
If
was
I'm doing a
thinking
what?
if you're doing a short-term provisional, the patient's only going to wear for a couple weeks, maybe a month, and you're maybe just going to do just the strip itself. Say the
Mhm.
doctor's printing a chair side provisional. How much time would that take on a full arch?
Oh, I can get that on in like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
5 minutes, 5 to 10
Yeah.
minutes.
So this is what it's, let me see if I can get it to focus. There we go. This is what we're working with. It's not perfect. There's no need to really spend any time. You're just really pulling it down into the areas. This is all going to shine through that strip. I like, again, use my handheld 20 seconds per section. Now the consistency after curing the intense modifiers, they will be solid, but they will have like a little bit of a layer on them, which is okay. And we do want that because the strip's going to sit on top of it. And it's going to help the bonding between the two.
We don't have to use a cover gel. There's no like
Nope.
thick reaction layer to worry about or to get
No.
off of there. How many arches did you say you've done by now, Shauna?
Oh my gosh. Probably in the hundreds. with EasyGum, yeah. I
Yeah.
started with last summer. So we're coming upon a year.
No way. It's been a year.
Yeah. Getting close, getting really close.
Wow. Our
Yeah.
1 year anniversary. That's awesome. Yeah. And if any of you here want to schedule a one-on-one with Shauna and I,
Mhm.
we're more than available to do that. We'll book a Teams call with you and you can just, watch live, just be private, intimate. You can ask whatever questions you have if you want to follow along and go along with us, but we're here to support your guys' success. So if you want to book a one-on-one, hands-on, private demo training, happy to do that. You could email me, Rob at Harvest Dental, and we'll get that set up. We have demo kits that we'll happily give out to you or your lab. Like, let's say you have maybe a group of 5 technicians in your lab that want some training. We'll mail out a handful of demo kits, and then you could broadcast us in your conference room. And we've done group trainings for labs virtually like this. So, love to support you guys any way we can. All right.
Yes.
Time for the
Time.
strip.
So today I'm going to be using the shade Original. Between Original and Light Pink have been like my super go-tos. But like I said before, we're going to just warm it. It's a little stiff right now. So I'm just going to warm it between my fingers. And it should feel like you just pulled out a stick of gum and it's like super kind of flexible. So I'll keep warming it till I get to that consistency. And it really, really, really helps with placing it and
Talk
getting it
about working
shaped.
time as well. How much
Mhm.
working time do you get out of this, and some do's and don'ts with light exposure?
You're definitely not going to want to be at a window. I can tell you that right now. Be careful with like overhead fluorescent lighting. I use the Harvest light bar, which has a warm setting that has been designed to, prolong your work time with composite. So when I first started, I think that was something that I noticed because I was also using the light bar and you had told me like, yeah, use this. That's what it's for. I was like, okay. But when I was experimenting, I can get 30 minutes plus out of it. Um, absolutely. But I'm also away from a window working with it as well. But I mean, even
Okay.
like right now, I'm under studio lights and I'll
Yeah, we
still
have
have plenty of time.
a warm light composite setting on the Harvest light bar. That's also available through Zon. We've tested it 30 to 45 minutes of working time in the warm setting on the Harvest light bar. So it's really nice to have that additional working time.
So pressure right at the midline, right at the finishing line. So I'm going to press as I kind of stretch this back a little and then pressing it into place. So you can kind of see. I'm going to press it into the finishing line first. Switch hands. I'm going to press in the middle and then stretch the strip back.
And so you're 1 strip per arch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have a little bit of extra to be able to fill in these places if it's a little too short. So it works out perfect. So pressing it in. So underneath, I'm going to look and make sure that I don't have any huge gaps. And then it's kind of pushing into that where the papilla should be.
Definitely
Once
want
I
to
feel
get
like,
any air bubbles out, right?
yeah. So I'm gonna peel that top strip off. This is what we're working with here. So you can already see some of the translucency that's kind of popping through. And the first tool I'm going to use is the Harvest Papilla tool. And this is what we're going to be using to shape the papilla. So right at the top tooth, you're going to press, pull straight down. This is not going to make it look pretty at first, which is okay, but you're going to save the extra. You can actually press this back into the little plastic silicone pieces and put it back into your container. So if you ever needed any extra, you have it. If you're trying to get creative, you can create, some anatomy with it. Or if you're just shy a little bit on a case and you need some extra, you can do that too. So I'm going to work my way all the way around. Like sticky boogers. You can use your fingers, press it in. My second tool is going to be a silicone tip. And I jump back and forth between two of them. One is pointed and the other one has a flat edge to it. I replace these quite a bit. I get them on Amazon as well in a little kit. This, you're going to start at the finishing line, and then I'm just pressing straight down. This is going to help push that material down into interproximally to create the papilla. And it's kind of like I'm pressing the resin down, so I'm pushing out any air pockets that might be underneath. And the more that I press, the more translucent this strip's going to be, so you can see what I place underneath. And I do like this tip as well because I can get, and I did dip it in a little bit of bond so it slides across. There we go. You can use the Explorer.
Yeah, you love that Explorer tool. You must come from a chairside technician environment.
Yes, I think that's why I like it. But I think it's also too the way that I hold it is a lot the way like working with ceramics when I'm shaping with my brush. I started out by using like a lab knife or a scalpel to get all this off, but then I was like, I'm lazy. I'll just use this. But I'm going to keep going with the silicone tip. I like these workflows too, because sometimes it can be overwhelming when you have like tons of syringes in front of you. And it's like, where do I even start? So keeping it like a system is helpful, especially if you have a lot to do.
Yeah, so in this case, you're showing us it's 3 syringes and some strips. Yes?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty simple setup. No having to like roll out a sausage, and then also talk about the how it holds up and it doesn't really slump on you, and the way it holds up while you're applying it and shaping it.
Yes. So for a while, I was struggling. I think this was like right before, we met and contacted each other. But I was struggling to find a composite that, because I typically was just doing ceramics. So, but getting in the hybrids, you got to learn that stuff now. So I was like using every single syringe composite you could ever think of. And some of them I like, some of them I was like, eh. My biggest struggle was like when I went to shape it, it would slump. And I felt like, no, I want to put it all on there because that's just more time efficient. I don't feel like doing like small sections at a time, but I would shape it. And I felt like within seconds later, I was having to go back and reshape it, reshape it, reshape it. Because it was like running away from me. With EasyGum, you don't feel that. Like how I shape it, it stays. And it really behaves a lot like clinical resin, like we use for fillings. It's a little bit sturdier. And it polishes a lot like that too. So that was one of the big differences I saw when I started using this. I remember when I got Rob, you messaged me, hey, can I send you a demo kit? I'm like, sure. Like, why not? I'll try another one. I really was not digging doing composite at all. He's like, all right, try it and see if you like it. And I got it and I was like, what is this? Like, really? It's in a strip. It's like, is this kind of trying to dumb up my job? And I sat down to use it and I've never used another product since. I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed. I actually just reposted the case that I did it on the other day, and I was like so excited. So when I get excited about this product, like I'm genuine because it really did help my workflow and my enjoyment of doing this again, because that was struggling.
Yeah, you were using the product in a clinic environment for I think 6 months before you joined Harvest. I mean, it was a while.
Yeah, yeah, it was. So we were doing basically putting tissue on our test drives. So I was struggling with liking the way it was looking and how much time it was taking me because I really didn't have the time to spend an hour to 45 minutes, doing just tissue. I was also designing and doing a lot of crown and bridge also at that time.
You're slightly out of frame there, Shauna.
Oh,
There we go.
sorry.
Thank you.
Starting to creep back towards myself. I like to use the back end of this Explorer.
Here.
Helps kind of push the tissue up and kind of creates that tissue roll. I'm really kind of at the point where I'm just fine tuning it. I could sit here and play with it for hours, but I'm not. You can kind of create some tissue anatomy. And then I have saved my favorite for last, which is the little sponge that I use for texture. And which is going to be the last thing because I'm not going to touch it anymore after I put that on. And we'll just go straight into curing.
So get it shaped, cut, position, then scrub mama, and then cure.
Yeah.
Love it.
There we go. Where's my finger? So I just cut off a little piece. And wherever I want it, I'm just going to press. And this is going to give you that, let me see if I can get it to focus. That little bit of tissue texture.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah, I like to do this a lot more than doing the just like poking it for stippling. I just don't think that looks very natural, not for me. So I like using the little sponge. I've used brushes before. I've used brushes with my ceramic, but I've actually started using this on my Mio, the sponge, and it works. I like it.
Nice. You're slightly out of frame again.
There we go. All right, so I am going to, there we go straight into curing. And there's always a hair or something floating. Okay, from here, I'm going to go ahead and cure 20 seconds per section. And then the nice thing about this too is when I'm done curing, it's done. There's no gels, there's no extra cure, there's no taking it to the box or waiting. I can go straight into polishing and I'm done.
Amazing. Amazing. Any questions from the audience? Everyone's a little shy on this webinar, Shauna.
I know, I like questions. Someone send me a question.
So far, I don't see any.
Yeah, I have the Q&A box open as well. So just monitoring that as we go. Hi, Jim. How are you? Thanks for being here. Thanks for saying hello.
So my polishing, I'm getting ready to do in just a second, which I started using this polishing technique across all things because the speed polish, one has been reformulated. It's the old formula was a little bit wet and pasty like, and the new one, which I'll show you in just a minute, it looks like that and a compound stick had a baby. Best way I can describe it. Possesses a lot more diamonds in it, and it polishes beautifully on everything and anything. So the tools that I'm showing you, I've crossed over into zirconia, metal, etc.
Shauna, we just got a question in. What if you find an air bubble after you've
Mhm.
cured it? How would you remedy that?
No, that's great. Depending on where it's located, you can use a burr. Make sure that you've opened it up enough to get the material into it. I would personally do it two ways. I would probably take my little brush, dip it in a little bit of bond just to make sure everything's going to be nice and tight. Place it on that area, uh, cure it, and you have the choice to using a pink modifier or a little bit of the leftovers that you do have, which you can just bite off with an Explorer and then fill that and patch it in. So it will bond back into it.
Nice.
And then that should be good. So from here, so the texture should be, you can, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's solid. So it's not sticky, it's not tacky. You don't have to wipe anything off with this, and you can go straight into polishing. So I'm going to use the speed polish. When you open it, if you ever try it, it's going to be like I have a hard consistency. And a lot of people are like, it's dried out, but it's not. It actually polishes better. And the
Thank you,
first thing,
Gus, and thank you, Scott, for the positive remarks. Appreciate that. And then also, Letitia asked, where can she find a demo kit? So, Letitia, if you send me an email, my email is rob, at harvestdental.com. We will send you a demo kit. It will come with 2 strips, a little sample model, and a disposable papilla tool that we use for training. So shoot me an email. Love to send you one and then get your feedback. All right, talk to us about your polishing flow here. We got the bristle brush going.
yep. Dipping it into the speed polish. I'm doing like a heavy to medium pressure on the resin first. This is where we're going to get that first super initial. I'm only going to do half of this arch too, so you can see where we started.
And maybe polish the teeth as well on half the arch just to
Mhm.
show off what the Harvest DCL can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I do the teeth a little bit closer to the last because I don't want to put as much pressure on the material. The resin has a different consistency. So I'm running across this finishing edge. There we go. Give that a minute to kind of pop in. So we're already starting to see that shine. The next one I'm using is the felt wheel.
And these are very expensive tools.
Did I tell you how I found, like, I was cleaning out a drawer at the lab and I was like, look, felt wheels, cool. And I was like, I wonder how I could use these. So I started just kind of playing around with them, experimenting, and it works. I was like, okay, sold. So I revamped it. She's back.
Love it.
Just gonna run across. I really focus in with the felt wheel right at the finishing edge. It really helps blend and just kind of melts that right into the edge so you don't have any gaps. There we go. This I'll pull straight down. There we go. Last one is going to be that cotton puff.
Cotton fluffy.
Yeah, nothing's on it. It's just naked.
And so you really don't use a lathe. You could use a
Nope.
lathe, pumice and polish. Just
Yeah.
talk us through why not use a lathe, as far as
Well,
your opinion goes.
I did. I tried it at first, but I wasn't. I like texture. So I will keep a little bit of texture. Why not? I mean, I know it's a provisional, but if you can make it look good fast, then, do it. But I didn't like the way that it was removing that. Only because hybrids, we have this very small area versus, dentures are a little larger. So I took to doing it at the bench because I can control where it is and the pressure a little more than I can on that. So this is just the pot and puff, just buffing out whatever's left on there. I'm going across the teeth. And you'll see why this is like my favorite material. There we go. From there, I'll steam clean it and wipe it with my microfiber. But this is what let that
I'll try to hold that
focus.
up close and show us the left and the right.
So this is where we started. And this is where we ended. So we still have our texture in there. You can see where the colors are kind of popping through the strip. And this is just polishing. So no glaze is necessary. There we go.
That is really cool. Any final comments before we go back to the slide deck and just talk through the different shade options and all of that? Any questions from the audience?
Here's another one too.
So that's a completed one.
This is a completed one. This is just polished. There's no glaze.
Wow.
This is a printed tri material.
Wow. That looks glazed. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And then this is a zirconia arch. No glaze, just polish. You can kind of see.
Wow.
And it's really, the consistency of this doesn't feel like resin. It feels like ceramic. That's really cool. So there we go.
That is amazing. Good work. Shaana, once again, thank you. This is really, really cool. And if you guys want to book a one-on-one training, again, Shauna's got her overhead cam ready to go. She can walk you through showing some different shades that we have, different modifiers that we have. And if you have some specific questions within your own workflow, would love to spend some time with you and just make sure you guys are super successful in using EasyGum, saving that time. Yes, here's a poll question. Go ahead,
I figured
Fran.
now's the time to see who's
Yeah.
interested in that virtual demo because what's going to happen is your information is going to come over to me. I'm Fran. I'm the education manager. Most of you know who I am. And I will give you a call. And you know what? I will get your consent to give your information over to Rob and Shauna, and they'll be able to contact you about doing a virtual demo.
Yeah, and Letitia just asked, is there a cost for the one-on-one? There is no cost, just your precious time, which we value. And we'll target about 30 minutes, but if you wanted to go an hour, we're happy to do that. So there's no cost to book a one-on-one with us for working through EasyGum and how you guys want to use it.
Perfect.
All right, I'll show just a few slides on the different shades that are available, and then we'll kind of wind it up and then field any last minute questions that we have. So the strips come in 6 different shades. We followed the Lucitone shade system. So we have the original pink, dark reddish pink, light pink in our standard translucency. And then you see 2 opaque shades here, original pink opaque, dark reddish pink opaque. These are great and are popular for a case where you just want to mask out the white underneath. You want to get it on super quick. These are common for the half strip workflow we showed earlier with, just getting some pink on the denture quickly. So, higher opacity, it won't let the modifiers shine through as much, but I know Shauna has, cut these up into triangles and used them in some different applications. So the opaque shades are there for you guys to use however you want. And then our pink modifiers, these are flowable modifiers in the same shade system as the strips. but then we also have this pink translucent and pink opaque for you as well to use. Shauna likes to use these around the gingival margin and some other areas. Then our intense modifiers, the root, it's like this light pink, useful for like root eminence, and then the dark red plum, which you saw, the night bright red, which you saw, the dark violet, which you saw, and then we also have a night blue, very popular for gums and veinings and that under the surface characterization. So here's the complete system. The 6 shades of strips, the 6 pink modifiers, and the 5 intense modifiers. All of this does come in a master kit, which I'll show you guys that in a minute. To get started, if you want to just jump in, get started with what you saw Shauna do, a trial kit is available through Zon. It comes with 4 strips of original pink, the Harvest Papilla tool, and the EasyGum all-in-one bonding agent. And Fran, I think is there a promo on this if they buy a trial kit through Zon?
Yes, there is a promo. I believe you get 4 strips for free. Is that how it works, Rob? I believe that's what it was.
Yes, it was. It was buy a trial kit, which comes in original pink. And then maybe Shauna, give a recommendation. What shade do you use most besides original pink for your provisionals?
Light reddish pink. So between the original light reddish, I use a lot of dark reddish if I'm kind of getting a little fancy and doing some contouring with it. But ethnic tissue looks really good with the dark reddish and the dark reddish opaque. Light pink is really light. It's super light. So I find that the original with the translucency looks really
Looks really
good.
good. Awesome. Thanks for that. So yeah, buy a trial kit through Zon, get 4 extra strips, whatever shade you want. We'll throw that in the package for you guys as well. Again, the strips come in 4 strips per pack and all these shades. And then we have the master kit, which is the complete system that you can order through Zon as well. And then we also have the speed polish, which Shauna demonstrated. The speed polish is a highly concentrated diamond infused polish. We haven't met a surface that speed polish doesn't polish. You probably could polish your fingernails on it and it would look like a gel coat. But zirconia, lithium disilicate, ceramics, composites, acrylics, metal, speed polish is a great material for polishing. We have a YouTube channel. A lot of our past webinars are on there. We have some shorter 5-minute videos that just walk through things pretty quick. And then we have some longer in-depth videos with some of our past webinar attendees. And then we also have a Facebook group. Love to have you guys join. It's called Pink Different. It's a place for technicians to celebrate and talk about pink aesthetics. Of course, we highlight EasyGum there, but we welcome and value pink aesthetics of all different types. If you've made a beautiful wax case and you want to share your tips for that, by all means, we'd love to have you share any of your pink aesthetic case work in the Pink Different Facebook group. So please jump over there and say hello, and we'll just kind of start to wrap things up and take any more questions that you guys have. I'll stop sharing my screen, and then I did see a couple questions come in. Someone asked, Scott, other brand modifiers. I'm not sure. I don't see why not. I mean, a light cured composite resin. I mean, I would say the critical components are the EasyGum all-in-one bonding agent to make sure you have that bond. Of course, we love our shade system. Shauna, have you used any other brand modifiers with the EasyGum strips?
I have, and I had to because I was doing ethnic tissue. So I was having to hand mix like a darker, it was like a dark mahogany brown into characterize. So I have used that. You can use this, like other modifiers underneath of it. I just find that these are more realistic than some of the others working with the EasyGum. So I've experimented just to see how many different looks I can get. Yes, you can. But just in my like personal experience of trying that myself, it didn't look as good as these modifiers were designed to shine through the way they do.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions, guys. Keep dropping them in. We'll hang out for another couple of minutes. Fran, do you have any questions for us?
We have one more. Letitia wants to know, like, what was the name of the curing light that Shauna was using?
Yes. This is it's a woodpecker LED 2. A lot of handheld lights can be expensive. They can get up into a couple $1,000 range. This one stays between $180 and $200 and has the wavelength that is necessary to cure the bond. So I like it. And I don't feel so bad if I'm traveling with it. It goes missing.
Right. So we have one more poll question. So
Yeah.
this one is if you would like to incorporate EasyGum to your lab, but it could be any of the products that you've seen that Shauna and Rob were speaking about. And if you do, we do have promotions. Like I said, you'll get a phone call from me. I will talk to you about what you saw. Get your feedback on the webinars because I love to get your feedback. And be able to tell you what our special promotions are for watching this webinar, because there are special promotions just for watching this webinar. So I thank you so much for joining us here. Just want to let you know what's coming up next on Zon Academy. Next Tuesday, we have the last of our 5-part series with ExoCAD. We've been doing ExoCAD designs for the entire month of April, and this one on Tuesday, 4/25, will be all on X design in ExoCAD. Then on April 30th, which is a week from today, next Wednesday, we'll be doing 3D printing, processing, and safety with Paolo Lubrano, who's an MDT. I just reviewed his PowerPoint today, and it is really unbelievable. You guys should definitely make sure that you get to Eventbrite and sign up for that one. You don't want to miss it, especially with safety and 3D printing. And on 5/14, making business decisions and when when it's time to commit to growth. And that one is with Mike Farrago, who he's a great guy. He's a lab owner. It's definitely worth your time. Okay. Lab Day West, we'll be having education there on May 16th. Our education room is Salon 8, and we'll be doing great education from 1 to 5 p.m. So take a look at your LMT magazine and join us for our education. I'll definitely be there. And our Philly Roadshow is taking place on June 5th. We'll be having a ExoCAD hands-on. And on June 6th, we'll be having, just a great roadshow, all about 3D printing, milling, live demonstrations on photogrammetry. We have our friends from Harvest that will be there as well. So we really look forward to you joining us. And again, you can go to Eventbrite and sign up for our roadshow right then and there.
Awesome. So awesome. Thank you, Fran, for including us, and love the partnership
course.
with Zon. And if I don't see you sooner, then we'll see you. Will you be in Philly, Shauna or Fran?
I will.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Cool.
Definitely. And I thank you for being such a great partner and, just being so great to our customers, really getting out there and teaching them. Look, having the virtual demonstrations, great trainings and, sending your product for people to try. I mean, that's how invested Harvest is and how, it's a stand-up product. It's fantastic. And again, easy gum for a reason, right? We saw it. And I just thank you all for joining us, and all of our customers. Thank you for watching with us today. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you. Thank you, Shauna and Rob.
Yes,
We
thank you.
appreciate you here at
Thank you,
Zon.
Fran.
Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.